Hi, John Ryle from Move or Rust. Now, to do those few simple maneuvers at my age, over 80, takes power and energy, which brings me to the subject of today. What runs this country? The number one thing, energy. If we don't have energy, things stop. The shelves in the supermarket go empty, the lights go out in your house, businesses close down one after another. So therefore, energy, whether it be fuel for cars, tractors, transport, or simply getting you backwards and forwards to work, and energy for light, for machinery to operate, etc. Critical, absolutely critical. And where do we get our energy from? We are blessed with abundant energy. And it's not just the sun, and it's not just windmills, believe me. We have it beneath our feet. It's called coal, it's called gas, it's called oil, and it's all quite good for us because it will give us a thriving economy. But energy is becoming ridiculously expensive, and getting it out of the ground or using what we have in abundance is becoming restrictive. Why? Because there are votes in appeasing to people that don't like fossil fuels, don't like abundant energy, do think that there is a new whole world out there, a new nirvana, a wonderful place full of, I don't know, unicorns and rainbows. There isn't, there won't be. What there will be is critical loss of energy, critical loss of work, and a collapsing economy. Now, one of the things that has happened recently is the high price of electricity. It doesn't have to be that expensive. It never was, but it is now. For instance, a few years ago, a friend of mine ran a coffee bar, Sam shop, and he was paying $50,000 a year for power, to keep the lights on, to keep the coffee machine working, to keep the air conditioning running in the heat of summer. That was several years ago, before power started getting out of hand in price. He's no longer there. There are hundreds of businesses closing every month right now because they can no longer afford to buy energy. Without energy, we're gone. Now, what I want to find out is what are the major political parties and the splinter parties doing and laying out policies for abundant energy at the lowest possible price. So I see that Labor is not interested in that at all. Coalition, strangely enough, says it wants to abandon net zero, which is costing an awful lot of money and an awful lot of jobs. But it doesn't want to walk away from the Paris Agreement. And then one of the leaders of the coalition said, well, it doesn't. It's just a piece of paper. We don't have to actually. Well, sorry, pal, but what the Paris Agreement says is that there are penalties for not getting to what they consider a reasonable accommodation of net zero, whatever that is and however it's measured. And we have recently signed a trade agreement with the European Union, which imposes penalties on us if we don't abide by the Paris Agreement. So, listen, sport, you do have to get out of the Paris Agreement. So, let's find out what they're doing. I look around, I see a lot of the people that are standing as candidates for various parties are nowhere to be seen. In other words, they're not on Twitter. which is now X. I don't see any flyers going around saying they're giving a little talk at the community hall about what their party is up to. They're just like, they're dormant, like cicadas that come out every 15 years, or frogs that hibernate, and then when it rains and in those dry gullies, and suddenly, whoop, they're there. We don't want that. We want active people pursuing active agendas, and we don't want, most of all, paper tigers. Now, a paper tiger is the kind of person who talks big but changes their mind when the going gets tough. Oh, I might lose some votes. Oh, gee, I got some nasty write-ups in the paper. Therefore, I'm no longer going to do what I promised to do. So please, have a look at the candidates that are coming up in an election for the federal election, which is very, very soon, sooner than you think. And please think about the people who may end up ruling you, right? Because that's really important. So this is John Ryle from Moville Rust. I'm going to have a look around this town, and I'm going to talk to you again very soon. Have a great time.